Good morning. If you weren't born to follow, maybe you want to go your own way. Maybe instead of Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, you want Dr. Pepper or orange juice. Maybe you don't want Democrats and Republicans. Maybe you want to be an independent. And it's curious because the Detroit Free Press has an article by Todd Spangler, and the headline is Epstein versus Stevens. It's more like Trump versus Obama. And it's talking about the race for the open seats in the Detroit suburbs, and they say it's a marquee matchup. In a way, it's Donald Trump versus Barack Obama because Republican businesswoman Lena Epstein, who's been on the program a bunch of times, and Democratic consultant Haley Stevens won their respective primaries in the 11th district. You got two relatively young women. Epstein is 37, Stevens is 35. They both entered as candidates for the very first time, and they beat crowded fields that included incumbent office holders, some savvy politicians. And so in that district, part of southeastern Oakland County, western Wayne County, women overperforming in congressional primaries. But Cooper Nye has something to say about it, an independent candidate for the United States House of Representatives in Michigan's 11th district, and he's on our AT&T line right now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Shiels. Thanks for having me.
Mr. Nye, how old are you?
I'm 25 years old, which is exactly the age the Constitution says you have to be to run.
You jumped right in. You threw your helmet into the ring as an independent. You're going to run against these two ladies. How are you going to do that?
Yes, sir. So I'm just looking to reach as many people as possible in Michigan, the Midwest, and the country that are just sick and tired of politics as usual. Because I was in D.C. the past 3 years, and I just saw firsthand, these two parties, they get on TV and they scream at each other, but afterwards they go out for caviar and cigars. So I think we're at a point where 92% of Americans know that the system doesn't serve them, so I want to give them an alternative if they don't want this proxy war for 2016.
What were you doing in the swamp?
So I originally moved out there to intern for the Heritage Foundation. I worked in their political theory department and ended up working in communications afterwards for a couple years, both at a public affairs firm and then a larger PR agency handling communications for Fortune 500 companies, federal agencies, national nonprofits, and just across a number of sectors. So I just kind of saw how the political and media networks interlace and just sort of combine in this deadly dysfunction that we're seeing.
How does one run? What is the mechanism by which one runs as an independent? How does it work?
Yeah, good question. So I looked into it, and you actually don't even need to be a resident of the state. You just need to be an inhabitant of it at the time of the election, and you need to get on the ballot, which for a congressional race means securing 3,000 signatures from registered voters. And I actually filed mine a couple weeks ago, and that's actually 3,000 is 3 times more than what the two parties need to file to get on the primary ballot. And what most candidates do, with these deep pockets is they pay for petitioners to collect theirs. I didn't do that. I went out there myself. I collected over 3,000 signatures. So I spent a couple months every day just out talking to people, getting a sense of, what they're concerned about, what they care about, and, if they're interested in seeing a new way forward.
And those signatures are all certified and everything, so you will be on the November ballot?
Yeah, so the official announcement will come out later this month from the Board of Canvassers. Mm-hmm. However, Bureau of Elections essentially said that, if you don't hear from us in a week, there's no issues. Didn't hear from them for a week, so it's looking good.
This is the seat that will be open because Dave Trott decided not to run for re-election. He's a Republican. Have you spoken with him at all? Do you know him at all?
I have not. Yes, this is for Michigan's 11th congressional district, so if you're in Oakland County or Wayne County, I might be your guy, or maybe let your friends and family know. But no, I have not spoken with Mr. Trott, and I do not know him. However, I have heard from people that do that the reason he's stepping down is just D.C. was not at all what he thought it would be, and I can really relate to that.
Now, he got elected. He had a lot of cabbage. How much money is it going to cost, and how are you going to get your message out against these two women, Republican and Democrat?
Yeah, great. I mean, that is the question, right? Conventional wisdom is it takes $1 million or more to win a House race like this. Both of my opponents have raised that much money, but I don't know. I think with the success of Sanders and Trump, both candidates who excited incredible grassroots enthusiasm, they show that the old playbook's kind of gone out the window. And so I see a lot of candidates running around chasing endorsements, doing the standard thing. But I think with the internet, and virality, there's a real chaos factor. So and it could go from overnight to just an independent running to somebody really taking the scene by storm.
Are you getting speaking engagements? Will you be involved in candidate forums, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I've done a couple already, forums that is, and
people take you seriously, though. I mean, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's they're typically shocked, when I was out petitioning, trying to get signatures, and then they say, "Hold on, like you're the candidate," and I'm like, "Yes, sir, yes, ma'am." I'm dead serious, and that usually warmed them up, and somebody that's familiar with the policy on most fronts, and above all, I'm just honest. So I'm not going to tell there and act like I know everything. I'm just a citizen who's fed up and trying to do and say what I think most people want to hear.
Isn't it interesting then if you have three essential outsiders running for this open congressional seat?
Yeah, that's something funny too, right? I mean, everybody's playing the outsider card, but I think you have to look at what they're really doing. Like, are you running with a party? Are you, taking money from big donors or special interest PACs? I mean, who's really behind it? Are you just all talk? Or are you actually out there trying to be independent and be a real outsider?
Will you have yard signs, and do you have budget for anything at all like that?
Yeah, so the yard signs are on their way next week.
Who's paying for
Monday.
all that?
Right now, it's all individual contributions. I've made a statement that I will not take money from any corporation, union, PAC, because if I'm going to criticize my opponents, I want to do the right thing myself. And there are a lot of candidates this year that done remarkably well with this sort of individual contributions only. Beto O'Rourke in Texas being one example.
Can you get national publicity? Because I think that would help, wouldn't it?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. That would be pretty game-changing.
National people, the media like stories like this, don't they?
You would think, but there's actually record-breaking number of independents across the country running right now. So the trick is to differentiate myself, and in a lot of cases, the reporters that really understand how things work, nobody really cared until I filed my signatures.
Well, you're in. Your helmet's in the ring, and let's talk again soon. Independent candidate for Congress.